Hello and welcome to Dark Fate Tarot. You are joining me on another rainy, drizzly evening in Brussels. Welcome to new subscribers. Welcome back to those who already know me. So yes, indeed, I'm jumping in on the tag Christmas Tree Tarot. I saw it over on Gigi's channel and my first thought was, I don't have Christmas decks. I don't have that many or anything. And I actually think there's not that much around. But I saw the tag, I saw the prompts, I saw the response and I thought, okay, this is not so difficult. And then I went over to Candy's video, which I will also link below, and I just had a lot of fun watching it and I thought, okay, I want to jump in and join in with this tag. So here we go. Here are my replies, and please bear with me. This is the second time I'm filming this because the first time round it was like no. So I'm doing this the second time round, so it's going to be a little bit messy maybe, but we're just going to have to wing it, right? This is Christmas. So anyway, the Dusty Attic deck, a deck that feels like a dusty attic full of secrets, full of treasures and secrets. So here is the deck that I chose. Where is it now? Now I can't find it. I'm looking at, right, okay. So here's first of all the cover to the box. I've already taken it out because it was going to be a palaver. L'Oracle de l'Arbre de Vie, which is a French deck by Corinne Branco and Virginie Medium. This is an oracle, and basically it's an oracle called the Tree of Life, but it's kind of like an oracle that is, for me, taking moments in our life. So it's basically an oracle that is capturing moments. It's a very old-fashioned oracle. That's how I'm going to say it. And I love it. I came across this in a boutique this year and I picked it up because I just wanted to. This is mass market, so it is available very easily, very readily from Amazon France and places like that. I will leave the name below. You can easily get this deck. It's kind of like got that glossy finish, but I love it. I love the borders. I love the images. It's basically stages and moments in our life that we want to capture, like falling in love, finding pleasure at the beach, and enjoying time with our children, that kind of thing. And I love it because it's just, I find like it's really evoking a lot of memories. Like, does anybody else remember sitting in these old-fashioned cars from like the 70s or the 80s? La voiture, this is transport basically. But yeah, I just really like this deck because it's got so much heart in it. That's the best way I can put it. I love the borders. I love that there's a feeling of melancholy. This is melancholy, but there's a feeling of melancholy, sweetness, the things in life that kind of like test us and give us memories. It's like a memory deck for me. And it's so soft, it's so gentle. I absolutely adore it. It just makes me feel so, with comfort. It's like comfort. And I was saying this to Marion when I picked it up. I said, I feel like it's an old man's deck that I'm going to grow into. It's like slippers, these old worn slippers when I see this deck. So this is, of course, big wins, small wins, our health, life coming in. It's just a deck of, this is for me, a real oracle deck, to be quite frank. It's just so, and the actual oracle entries in the guidebook are not very long. So if you're interested in it, you could easily, with Google Translate, understand what it's saying. But I just really like it because it's gentle. And here's the season. It says l'été. Yeah, I just love this. Here's about commitments, our marriage, transport, le bateau. Yeah, it just brings back to me many fond memories. I'm someone, I have to say this, is anybody else like me? I love these decks which have this feeling of being in class. So I need to get more of the Dixie decks. French decks do that very, very well. I feel like I'm kind of like, in some kind of like a cartoon or something, basically, and I love them. So yeah, and I just love the colors in this deck. It's very like old slippers for me. So there you go, and the borders are gorgeous. It feels like it looks like textiles. This is the countryside. Yeah. And look, just beautiful artwork. Look at the borders on this. Time. Yeah, and gift of life. The stork. The artisanal worker. Seasons. Here's winter. So yeah, I mean, I just really like this deck because I feel like I'm in someone's memory lane. This is a memory lane for me, and I love it. So this is like my old dusty attic deck. the deck after this that I will quickly now show is the Christmas Tree Structure Deck. Tell me about the key tarot structure you love. Now here I'm going to cheat a little bit. I love RWS, I love the Thoth. I don't know the Marseille too well, but I decided to come up with something a bit weird and different because yeah, I wanted to. I really like tarot decks that feel like oracles. I know that sounds very strange, and I like oracles that feel like tarot deck. So an example here that I'm going to show you, which is also very Christmassy, this deck, is the Good Tarot by Colette Baron Reid, artwork by Jenna Della Cortaglia. This is a Hay House Mass Market deck. So I love this because it has a very oracle feel. Let me get the top off. It has a very oracle feel for me. And I like decks that do that. They have a tarot structure, but you know, you could easily make this into a pathworking deck, which is how I use it. And I just love the images for that. They kind of like are very dreamy, fantasy. This is patience. So yeah, I kind of like use this deck more kind of like for the expressions, the emotions, what I'm seeing in the artwork, rather than actually it being a key, to be very honest. But it does read very, very well as a tarot deck. If I wanted to read, do a tarot reading with it, it's excellent. I've actually done tarot readings for other people using this deck. They do like this deck, so it is popular. It's popular with people who want to receive a reading. That's how I'm going to say it, because I think they do find it quite gentle. The images are gentle. And of course, there's some diversity in it, which is really good. But more than anything, I like the dreamy landscape. It works very, very well with oracle cards. But I personally love tarot decks that can act as an oracle as well. And this one for me has that feel, the size, the images. Yeah, you can see she's looking away. She's looking afar. She's trying to plan something, maybe that's Three of Earths, so that's more like working together. See, it looks more like Three of Wands. This deck easily for me, Ace of Pentacles, can easily be an oracle deck for me personally. She looks very powerful, and she's owning the land, which is the Queen of Earth. So there you go. So that's the Good Tarot by Colette Baron Reid and Jenna Della Cortaglia. So the next prompt is, oh, before I move on, I wanted to show this. I'm going to do this very quickly now. This is like, so in Candy's video, I thought it was hilarious. She showed two of her Rider-Waite-Smith decks, the original Rider-Waite-Smith, and I kid you not, I have exactly the same decks. Now, of course, many people have these decks, but it's quite funny. So I too have the original Rider-Waite Tarot deck, which is the first deck that I bought. There are several decks that I first bought, and this is one of them, and I used it. I won't show you all that because you know what that is. But I also had the Radiant Rider-Waite because this was very popular. This is the deck I actually learned on, and I'm not joking now. This is so funny. My one's trimmed too. So if you see Candy's video, she's got a trimmed Radiant Rider-Waite, so do I. I think hers came to hers trimmed. It was gifted to her. I trimmed mine, but I just thought it was so funny. I thought I've got to show this on camera that I have literally the same deck also trimmed down, and it pops its color like that. But anyway, I just thought I'd pop that in because I found it quite ironic and funny that I have exactly the same decks as Candy, even down to all the trimming business. So the prompt after this is the Tinsel Deck, a deck you get wrapped up in, and using it make you forget about other decks. So I had to think about a little bit this. Now, I've shown a lot of decks on this channel. I want to show something unusual. So it's a deck I don't really use that often, to be quite honest. But when I do use it, I think it's breathtaking, like I can lose myself in it. And that's the Shimmering Veil Tarot by Cilla Conway. This deck, this is an independent production. This deck is just, and also, sorry, don't want to move that. This deck also, the beauty of this deck is I think it's great for like around this time of year, basically solstice. I think it's a very wintry feel for me personally. It's got a very wintry feel. And I think this deck is just, now it's in order, so I want to keep it in order. But yeah, it's a gorgeous deck, and it's dark. It's a very wintry feel, as I said. And it's one of those decks that I'm pretty sure if I use this continuously, I would definitely forget that I have other decks, because it really takes me into it's another tarot deck that can easily be an oracle, because it has that power. It has that very heavy, large energy. I think for me, oracles, the The reason why they're very strong for me is because they have a very underlying broad theme. That's how I see them, how I read them. And this deck has that. It has this intensity, and the artwork, of course, is beautiful, but there's a lot going on here. And I could really, I mean, this is like the 10 of Pentacles. I can really, and you can see here, like this is tribal images coming out. So I can sit with these cards for a very, very long time and be completely lost in them. And I hadn't shown this deck for such a long time on this channel. I thought I've got to get it out. Here it is. We have the 6 of Wands. It's just a victory. This deck goes so well with Rasuli's artwork as well, by the way. So if you have a Rasuli Oracle, it will go so well with this deck. But it's silver gilded. And we have 2 Queen of Wands, as I recall. Yeah, 2 different Queen. Look at that. That's powerful. Here she is with some kind of electricity. That looks like some kind of electricity to me. Something cosmic, something fiery, electric. And here she has the serpent, who is gently coiled around her. Gently. King of Wands. So anyway, I'm going to jump ahead a little bit so you get an idea. Here's our cups. But this deck has a very ethereal energy. That's what I'm going to say, of course, called a shimmering veil. And I can easily just go, it has, I think, two full cards. And I can easily just go into this deck and live in this deck, actually. It's, you know, here's our Lovers card. It's a deck that I could really just be with. So that's the Shimmering Veil by Scylla Conway. So the Bauble Deck, a deck that keeps rolling around and turns up over and over again your practice. So this kind of like, I was like, oh, I'm going to show something that's, everybody's going to find it boring, but I'm going to show it because this is the truth, right? So I'm someone that has a lot of low scarabeo decks, and I'm not kidding. I go through like a phase where I will use a low scarabeo deck in the background a lot. And the phase this year was the Triple Goddess Tarot. This was the deck. So a few years ago, it was the Golden Art Nouveau. You know, they kind of like swap around, and then there'll be another kind of like, you know, low scarabeo dish of the day kind of thing with me. Let me not move that. There you go. So these are the cards, and I just find that low scarabeo decks are just so easy to use. They're non-fussy. They give the message. I'm not sitting there thinking, oh, I wonder what that means. I mean, like, it's pretty obvious what that means. So yeah, I just really think that this is a great deck in terms of just an easy reader, and there's the front cover, and it kind of like works in the winter, it works in the autumn. There's 2 full cards. It works all year round, and yeah, this is a deck that will kind of like always keep coming back in my practice. Next year, there'll be another low scarabeo deck, very similar. I'm thinking of the Silver Witch Tarot or another low scarabeo. It's always the way I am, that I always need a low scarabeo deck that's simple and easy and quick to work with. And this is the one that's been kind of like my deck of the year this year in the background, basically. So the Snowman Deck, a deck that melts your heart. Oh, I loved this prompt. And I saw this prompt, and I have to say I knew immediately which deck I had to show. I was like, okay, actually, this is not difficult at all. I have to show it, of course. It's my beloved Soul Cats Tarot by Lisa Robertson, art by Adam Ohlers, who also has done Oak, Ash and Thorn and all those decks, all those cards. Can't speak now, tarot decks. So, yeah, I mean, let's have a look at this. Just beautiful artwork. And it makes my heart melt. All of these cards. There's a couple of cards in here particularly that just strike me as absolutely beautiful. Let me see if I can get to them very quickly, because I just love this deck. Because it's just, yeah, I mean, I'm a cat girl, right? I've got my cat, and this goes straight to my heart. This, just so gorgeous. Just everything that they're going through. They're like on an adventure, right? This is a cat adventure, basically. That's the Lovers. Let me show you some of the cards that make my, I mean, it all makes my heart melt, but these ones, like, my heart turns into a puddle. Look at that chariot there. Ah, beautiful moon. Let me show you the ones. Oh, look at that 5 of cups. Look at the expression on his face. Okay, where are we now? Okay, this is one of them. Look at that. Wounded. Oh. And another one. I want to be quick here. You can see I love this deck. Oh, look at that 5 of pentacles. It just makes my heart. It's such a beautiful wintry deck as well. It's really great for like winter, autumn season. Winterm, right? That's what we say these days. Winterm deck. Winter, autumn. Oh, look at that. Oh, this was the other one that I had to show. Look at that. It's just so sad. So yeah, I'll stop there with this deck, but now you get an idea that I actually love this deck. I also want to get the Mystical Cats Tarot by Linnea Weatherston. That's also high on my wish list. But cat deck and my heart turns into a big puddle. That's all I'm going to say. So the prompt after is, let me see if I can get there. Hold on a second. Scroll down. Okay, the Handmade Deck. A deck that's made extra special because who made it, or you feel it makes particularly handmade. Oh, okay. Yeah, that was like very, very clear to me. White Hair Wisdom Oracle Deck by Jackie Lovesley. This is part of the Geo, Phil and Jackie Lovesley, and they also did the Aboridium Magic Cottage. That's also theirs. They also sell books that have these stories. These are the backs. And I just find this is such a beautiful handmade deck. I mean, it's just, the cards are really lovely and good quality, but just, I love this story of Matlock Hair. It just feels like I'm in a little storybook. My inner child loves this deck. You know, it's such a cute deck. And it's got that really lovely wintry feeling for me. And look at that, just joyful and magical and great to use with other tarot and oracle decks. So yeah, I had to show this because it has that homemade feels, right? I'm in the home somewhere. I'm enjoying my time. I'm cooking away, nourishing and feeding my soul. Look at the boots here. Chickles, laughter. It's got its own language going on. Retreat. And yeah, I thought I'd show this, which is the White Hair, what's it called again? White Hair Wisdom Oracle Deck. And that is by the Lovesleys, who I think next year they're releasing another oracle. I think it's another oracle that they have coming out. Look at that, self-belief. Beautiful. So, okay, let me see if I can get that back. The joy of tarottube, right, is all of these boxes and decks. Okay, so the next one is a Mistletoe Deck, a deck that makes you think about love in the holiday season. This was a bit difficult for me because I'm not really a love bunny, but whenever I think of love, this is one of the decks that always jumps out at me. And of course, it's the Lioness Oracle Tarot with these roses on it. I had to pick it. And although this is a very summery deck, because of its cosmic feel, it's also quite wintry. Now, this is by Alejandra Leon, and I recently showed the Vision of the Muse, which is basically the sister deck to this. Look at that. Isn't that love? Isn't that love on a back? There you go. So I love this deck because it's just fun. It's fun. It's quirky. Because of its cosmic feels, I think it's kind of like great all year round, but I think it's like a summer or a winter deck. It kind of like goes into those extremes of either we're in heat or we're in the cold. I don't know, that's how I feel about this deck. I don't think it's very spring or autumn personally. Look at that Nine of Swords, huh? Talk about demons. But yeah, I really like this deck because it's just opulence, it's color, it's vibrancy, it's sparkly. It's very, very sparkly. And makes me smile. I just really like how she's used, you know, animals and body images and no heads. And here's the strength card. But yeah, a look at the Two of Cups. There's definitely some cards in this deck that just make me smile. Look at that Eight of Swords. It's one of my favorite Eight of Swords of all time. Actually, I have to say that. Look at that kitty. So again, you know, we have another cat deck actually here, but I love the Seven of Swords here. I mean, that just makes me laugh as well. But yeah, this is a great tarot deck, and I think that this is great when I think about love in the holiday season. Very light deck, a deck that sparkles. So yeah, for this one, I kind of like was very clear to me that I have to show kind of like this. When I think of sparkles, I think of this artist and his work, and that's James R. Eads, and this is Prisma Visions. So this is again a card, and I've added in the extra cards before I forget, because there are extra cards in this deck and I've already put them in there, so it's a bit muddled. You're just gonna have to bear with me. But whenever I think of sparkles, I think of this deck. I mean, his deck's full stop. And this one is more wintry, which is why I picked this out of the trio that he has of this particular range, because then he's done the Green Glyph series, which I don't have. But I just love this deck because it is sparkly. Look at that. And the extra cards also have sparkles. But one of the things I love about this deck is the expressions on people's faces. You can see them. And they're very emotive. Look at that Four of Pentacles. And I think when we're doing such intricate artwork, that's very difficult. It's not easy to show emotions in this situation, but he does. Look. That's Seven of Swords. You can see that's a mask, but we're seeing emotions, right? Here's our Wheel of Fortune. I love the Five of Cups in this. I love it. It's one of the reasons actually I loved this card. When I saw Kelly from the Truth and Story show this deck, I loved that so much. The Magician, beautiful, beautiful cards. So yeah, I mean, this is one of the extra cards that I bought and I added in. Look at that. Talk about sparkles, right? So sparkly. So there you go. I had to show this, and again, it's wintry, but it's vibrant. Well, it's not all wintry. There's summer as well. I mean, it's just a great deck. But I think it had a lot of winter scenes from the swords in it, and I wanted to show it because when I think of this deck, I do the swords. Sorry, do really stand out to me. Look how beautiful that is. That's beautiful there. I mean, again, cards that convey emotion, and yet we see very little, right? You don't really see her face, but yet there's a feeling of a lot of thinking, right? She's in her head. There's a lot of kind of like planning going on there. Anticipation, or I don't know. Oh, look at that Eight of Swords. So yeah, I had to show this deck. Reverie. This is one of the extra cards that I've bought. You can see here the sparkle that's in there. And yeah, that is Prisma Visions by James Eads, and that is of course an indie deck, and that's got this silver gilding, and those are the backs. And finally, the last prompt is the Tree Topper deck. Tell me about your tree topper and find a deck that reminds you of it. Now, I actually first came up with the Star Tarot by Kathy McClelland. This is the second edition, the large box with Schiffer. Beautiful deck. I really don't use it enough because I don't find the gilding very comfortable. I need to keep in order, so bear with me. I need to be able to do just this. But I do think it's a great deck. It's beautiful. At the top of my tree, you know, even when I was living at home with my family, it was always going to be a star. That's what we always had, and I just loved this. It's got that kind of like, for me, Starry Night feel, and what a death card. And I think it's a beautiful deck. It's very Thoth for me, Thoth or Golden Dawn, because it has a lot of Rider-Waite images in there as well. So it's a bit of a mix, but I really, really love this deck because the art is stunning, but I don't really use it enough. And I actually think that this is going to be a study deck for me. Like in the future, I will actually be studying this deck rather than just kind of like doing a quick 1 month review. I'd like to spend about 2 or 3 months with this deck. So that's the Star Tarot. But I want to add in one final one because I think that's really where I'm at basically. And the deck that I have to add in is Seasons of the Witch Yule Oracle. Now I know that this deck has a lot of a lot of opinions, let's put it this way. I have picked it up this year to use, and I just find it very magical. And I am someone that lends myself towards that witchy energy, and I just find it very magical as we go towards the solstice. Not really loving the Father Christmas card. I'm going to just really be honest with her. That's not one of my favorite cards, but there's so many cards in this deck that I love. I love the ornaments card. That was my card for this week. The mistletoe. It's got diversity, age range, ethnicities. I just love it. It's just so homely. I just really love this deck. And I have to say that Lauren Anderson, the creators are Lauren Anderson and Juliet Diaz, artwork by Giada Rose. One of the interesting things that I'm finding about their Oracle decks that's challenging for me, as in it's well done and it really pushes me, is that there's a lot of community feel as well. There's solitary feel and then there's community feel. And I think that's beautiful, that we are witches on our own, but we also, we have our companions. See there in the background, she's got companions. Oh, I don't know if they're companions or solstice. Just squirrel medicine. Yeah, I really, really like this deck because it has that wintry feel. And honestly, I don't think we have enough of this. I think now they're starting to make more Yule decks, but I think that we need more basically. And I'm really happy that at least there's some, this, and it is stunning and beautiful and very poetic in its own way. And I need to work with this deck more, definitely. All of their decks so far in their series have a very, very strong message for me. It's unbelievable. So I'm going to stop there and say thank you so much, Candy, for this fantastic tag. And I will link everyone's videos below. I really love doing this. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I will see you all soon. Take care now.